Thank you for staying with us here at Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. Today, Bill Zettler is Jack Roeser and myself's guest, and we're talking about pensions, unsustainable debt, and I guess property tax bills just came out recently. How much of our property taxes go to the schools?
It varies. Between 40 and 60% of your bill would be for education.
Okay. I've heard it's almost up to 70% too.
There may be a few.
But now that goes to the teachers' salaries, which they pay their pensions on, which go to political work.
Well, what happens is you pay the salaries out of your local taxes, but in 1998, under Jim Edgar, the unions negotiated a deal where the state picks up the pension payment. Before that, the schools made the pension payment. So the unions say, okay, school district, we're going to let you not pay the pensions because we're going to make sure the politicians have the state pay the pensions, but we want higher salaries in exchange for that. So what happens is the taxpayer pays twice. He pays higher salaries for the teachers because the local district doesn't have to pay the pension, but then turns around and at the state level has to pay the pensions there. That's what happened in 1998.
And that's what's bankrupting the state.
Yeah, because the local district has no cost for pensions.
So, you know what, Michael was talking about Wisconsin. They're turning this thing around. We have to turn this thing around. We need lawmakers that have the political will.
There's a cart before the
cart before the horse.
The horse, yeah. The people in Wisconsin had brains enough to elect a Republican governor, a Republican House, and a Republican Senate, and under the leadership of a very strong governor up there, they corrected a lot of this mess.
Elections
they never got
have
in it.
Consequences.
They never got it that deep into it, but at least they had Republicans in charge. And when the governor put all these reforms in, the unions went crazy, and you saw it on television, and and they occupied the whole Capitol and went nuts. Well, the situation in Illinois is exactly the reverse, because up there, the Republicans had control of all of this stuff, and when they got in control, they did something. And then the unions went crazy. We got a different thing down here. We got the most crooked state in the world, in the United States, pardon me. There's probably something in the middle of Africa that's more crooked, but we lead in the United States. And so what we've got is a bunch of Democrats have been in control of the House and the Senate and the governor and the city of Chicago. And the city of Chicago is infamous, and the political power of that is added to the political power of this crazy IEA union. So they have run this thing over the cliff uniquely. So what we've got now is an election coming up where we've got to take on this evil union and the immense, how many millions of dollars are they going to pour in this year into politics? 80 million?
No, that's their total. That's the total dues paid in.
Total dues.
I wouldn't be surprised if they laid out 10 million this year, though.
Well, but 80% of the dues goes into nothing but politics. So maybe a half of it or something will wind up.
Well, it's a lot of the PR, a lot of the stuff they do directly themselves is not counted as political.
Listen, the businessmen in this state are pretty well broke, and so are the taxpayers. And there's not much money to give to politicians, Republicans for sure.
Yeah.
But the Democrats, you want the rich folks? It is the Democrats. Where do they get the money? Mostly the IEA.
Wait, a couple weeks ago, didn't Obama raise like $5.6 million at one fundraiser?
Yes, he did.
The Democrats have all the money. The other thing that's raised the cost of medicine, everything else, is the class action attorneys. That's a Democratic scam, and that money is going into Madigan's pocket along with all the stuff. So the rich folks are the Democrats here, and they are what perpetrating the bankruptcy of the state of Illinois. That's got to be changed. It is the reverse of Wisconsin, where the change was made first by getting Republicans in power, and they made the changes that were necessary. It never got as bad as Illinois.
No.
But here, we've got to take on the union and point it out that is the evil genius behind the bankruptcy of Illinois, and we got to replace it with a Republican House and Senate down there, and we can't get to the governor for another 2 years after this election.
Well, I need to ask.
We've got to change the House and Senate in Illinois before anything is going to happen, because these Democrats are putting in their own pockets, maybe not individually, but into the politics of it. All of this money is going in. Is it illegal? I wish the hell we could say it's all legal, but I think they've been making the laws that make that okay. You got to take those guys out.
I got to get this question into our expert here, because the collective bargaining they did in Wisconsin gave the school boards the ability to bid their health care insurance. And then the union insurance came way down. They saved millions. So right. I came to the conclusion that the unions were setting their own health care costs. This is what you have to pay us for health care.
Sure.
Now, if that's true, is that what Illinois is doing? Do the unions are able to set their own price that the school boards have to pay?
They set their own price of what they have to pay in salaries, not in the insurance. Insurance is outside of the contract will say how much insurance they get, but the carrier is determined by the school board in Illinois. Now, comparing to Wisconsin, the thing we have to understand is, as bad as Wisconsin was, as much trouble as they've had, they're only half as bad as Illinois. We can look here in our salaries. Wisconsin, the highest salary in Wisconsin is $108,000 for a teacher. In Illinois, it's $203,000 for a teacher. There are 6,000 people, 6,000 more teachers in Illinois that make $100,000 a year than in Wisconsin. So Wisconsin, as bad as it is, was much better than Illinois. Illinois is really bad.
I finally figured out why Obama has been going after the rich. And the only reason is because government has sucked the middle class dry. There's nobody left with any money except the rich.